Have you ever had a day where you finally felt pretty good and you actually started having more energy? You were thinking more clearly. Maybe you even started feeling hopeful about, your dreams, your goals, the things that you want to do and where you're wanting to go. And so you started doing all the things. You started playing catch up, cleaning, errands, work. Maybe you saw a friend. And then what happens? The next day, or maybe even later that same day, you were completely wiped out. You couldn't get out of bed. And your brain is super foggy. You can't think straight. Everything hurts. So, if that is you, this is something that's called post-exertional malaise. And it is essentially your nervous system trying to protect you, trying to stop you from doing more activity that it thinks can hurt you. So let me explain. So you do have a good day and you think, well, maybe I'm getting better. And I know this from experience because I was bedridden for 8 months, couch-bound, housebound for about 3 years. So, you start to do all the things, right? All the things you've been wanting to do, all the things on that to-do list that's just consistently piling up and getting longer and longer. The laundry, the cooking, the cleaning, the exercise, the work, and you start to really feel alive. Like you start to think, well, I'm getting my life back. My personality's coming back. I'm able to do the things that I used to do. And then you crash, right? And the next day you're so exhausted, you cannot even think straight. You're probably having panic attacks or anxiety spikes. Your mood is swinging all over the place. You're hungry. Your blood sugar's all over the place, digestive issues, all kinds of things. And you feel like you're back to square one. And then your thoughts start to spiral and you're like, well, I'm never going to make it out of this. I'm never going to get better. I'm never going to be okay. Like, why can't I just be normal? Why can't I just function like a normal person? I wasn't even doing too much. And then you start thinking, well, maybe I'm lazy, and you start gaslighting yourself with these things. But this is real, and it is not all in your head, and it is not your fault. Post exertional malaise is when your body is crashing way harder than it should after doing something that normal people would deem as an everyday task, right? Something simple, light, not really hard exercise. So for me, when I was going from that bedridden phase into being able to walk again and going to my couch bound phase, standing up was a trigger for me. Or taking a few steps, walking down the hall eventually. Like all of these things would trigger me, and I could crash for days, weeks, sometimes months if it was too intense. And my point here is that it doesn't have to be something big, right? It can be physical stress. It can also be mental stress. It can be emotional. It can be social activity. So talking to someone on the phone, your nervous system gets stuck in this survival mode. And when you start to push past what your body can handle, your nervous system sees that as a threat. And it kind of starts to put everything into like this shutdown mode to protect you. And that's where the crash comes from, right? This crash is essentially designed to stop your body so that you don't keep going, right? Because it doesn't feel safe to keep going. It feels like if you keep going, you are not going to make it. So why do we need all of these functions? Let's shut it down. Let's tell the body no and make everything slow down, because whoever's in control isn't listening. So your body is essentially this phone battery that's like on 5 to 10% at this point, right? It's barely got any juice in it. And you're continuing to just burn through that energy as if you have 50, 60, 70%, but you don't. And eventually the phone starts to shut off in order to protect itself. And that's what the crash is, right? It's your body saying, hey, stop, we're not safe, we need to shut down, we've got to stop. And this creates a push crash cycle that ends up being just pure chaos. So you have a good day, then you push yourself, and then you crash. And then you start to feel guilty, and all of the mental spiraling can make it worse, right? And then you start to rest a little bit because you're like, well, I guess I have to. I don't have any other choice. And then you eventually have a good day again. You push, and you see how it just continues. And the thing here is that cycle prevents healing. So on this channel, we talk a lot about the two branches of the nervous system split into the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So the sympathetic is going to be that fight or flight, that survival mode. And the parasympathetic is going to be the rest and digest. That's where your body heals. Okay? Your body can only be in, or your nervous system can only be in one of these at a time. It can't be in both. So the switch is on for this, or it's off. And when that switch is on and you're stuck over here in survival mode, the healing mode is turned off. So you can't just pace better or build stamina. Your body needs to feel safe before it can start to sustain energy. Pacing and stamina are important, but you can't just do those things, if that makes sense. So safety cues for the nervous system are one of the key players too. And I know this because I lived this during my 8-month bedridden period. And I remember one day I felt decent, and I was like, I didn't feel great, but I felt decent. And it was when I was like between the bedridden couch-bound phase. So like I would have some days where I could like get up and walk around and I'd be on the couch all day, but was still mostly in bed. And I remember one day I somehow, I don't know where it came from because I have not had caffeine in like 4 years now, but I got all of this energy from somewhere, and I was like, I'm going to go hang curtains in in the bedroom. And so I'm starting to try and hang all of these curtains, and boy, was it a struggle, but I did. I hung 2 sets of curtains somehow. And then I crashed. Not for a day, not for 5 days, not for a week. I crashed for a month and a half. Okay? From hanging 2 sets of curtains and then being in bed the rest of the day. And the brain fog was horrible. The anxiety was horrible. My body felt like it was cement or metal or just something super weighed down. Like I couldn't even hardly move my arms or legs. But my body wasn't completely broken, right? It was just protecting me. And that was the frustrating thing, is because like in the moment I thought like my body's defective, what's wrong? And the doctors would test me. They'd do all these tests, blood, stool, urinalysis, CT scans, x-rays, couldn't tell me anything. They're like, you're fine, just go home. But my body was trying to protect me. And it wasn't until I stopped that whole push crash cycle and started really working on supporting my nervous system first and changing my mindset and my perspective on things. That is what really changed the game for me and allowed me to go from being bedridden to couchbound to housebound to having my life back. And again, this did not happen by forcing things. It happened by giving my body what it actually needed, and that's safety and support. And so some things that you can do is to start respecting the current limits that you have, the current limits that your body is giving you. So try not to push too far past what your body can handle today. And I know it feels like you're giving up, you're not fighting anymore, you're not making progress, but it's really strategy, right? It's strategic. And then when you're doing that, also to start to focus on nervous system regulation. And you can check out a lot of the videos here we have on our channel, all of the EFT sessions. EFT itself is a form of nervous system regulation. It's not explicitly called that, but it does trigger that parasympathetic healing mode that we were talking about over here. So you can't think your way out of this. You need someone who understands post-exertional malaise and can help pace with you, not just tell you to pace better, right? So your body's doing exactly what it needs. Find you some support. Start working with nervous system regulation. Respect your limits, and you will make progress. Because doctors were telling me there was like nothing they could do. And when I tell you those 3 things were the foundation for everything I did moving forward to get to my current state, I can't tell you any better advice right now. Like there is none. So if you are someone who feels like they are repeatedly getting stuck in those push crash cycles, there's hope and there is help. There are plenty of places to go. Find a buddy who has it, right? Who has, I don't want to say a specific type of chronic illness, right? But for me, it was a lot of chronic fatigue. I had other things going on too, but there was so much chronic fatigue that I was experiencing, I couldn't hardly lift up my arms and legs. And unfortunately, there's so many people out there that experience it. So find someone who this is really hard to say because I don't want to just say, throw those people out, don't help them, because that's not the case at all. But you have to, when you are in the trenches too, you have to be very selective of who you spend your time with. So when I say pick a buddy that is going to help you, if it's someone who's constantly negative, not trying to shift their mindset, shift their identity, or change their lives, it's going to be difficult for you to carry both of you out of that. So I know some people are not going to like that response, but you really have to think of it kind of like whenever we talk about saving yourself first, right? Like when you're in an airplane, they're like, put your mask on first. You have to get yourself out of those trenches, whether it's you and the help of someone else getting you out, but you've got to get out first before you can carry a full body out of that place. So do remember that, because I've seen so many people who end up online in these forums, and I don't want to call out specific ones, but on specific forums that are so dark and dreary and negative, and there is no hope. Like these people have, there's just no hope and so much negativity, and I'm like, I wish I could just give each of them a hug, honestly, like, because there is so much hope for you. Like, why do you stop spending so much time in these forums that are just going to stir up your symptoms and make you feel more stressed, which is going to make you feel more fatigued because of all of the mental pressure, right? So all of this is not about pushing harder, right? It's about building a foundation of regulation that is going to allow your body to heal in a very slow and sustainable way. Because when we take those small steps consistently, you're building a very firm, strong foundation, right? So remember, healing is not linear. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort, and it's not going to happen by force. So when you're doing this, when you're dealing with these things, your body's asking you to slow down so that it can catch up. So try your best to listen to it. You were not meant to live in survival mode for the rest of your life. It's meant to be something temporary to keep you alive in very dangerous situations, like if you are being chased by lions or tigers or bears, right? Not if you have a text message from a family member who's distraught because they just burnt their casserole. So there is absolutely a pace that is going to be available to you that doesn't require crashing. You just have to find that baseline and slowly take steps to figure out where you need to go, how you need to do it. So take care of yourself, and I will see you guys tomorrow.